Chapter 5. In the Hands of Strangers. Fate may whisper, but it is choice that speaks the loudest. The morning Camille readied to relieve Lena from her convalescent bed, he awoke in a fine mood. Not only was he eager to be with Lena again, he also looked forward to witnessing her reactions to Charity. Camille wanted to ensure that Lena did not regret her decision to remain with him. Yet the moment Charity alerted him to a visitor at his door, something heavy took up residence in his chest. Hearing the news Avum imparted to him caused his inner light to flame around him. His heart pounded in his chest. A part of himself refused to believe her words. It could not be true. It simply could not. Yet, even as his ears buzzed and his mind raced, he had to acknowledge that her words made a sickening sense. "You are certain?" he asked.
"Quite."
"Her father is not Sariel, but Kazdeja?" With the barest of nods, Avum confirmed.
Sariel is her grandsire, yet she is a spawn of Kazdeja.
Kazdeja. He shot a glare at Avum. "She did not admit this freely." Avum pursed her lips.
She has not discussed her life on Earth.
Camille almost lost control of his light. The mere sound of the horrid name lifted his lip into a snarl.
"Tell no one. I will not have a mass panic demanding public execution."
"Aye, Craven,"
Avum said, but shifted her stance and hovered by his side a moment longer. Camille cut his gaze to her. "What is it?"
"The and thee. Have you any ill effects?"
"Other than a spawn being the cause of it? Nay." Avum took a step towards him and laced her fingers through his.
"I can find another ship for her. You are too good for her."
Camille squeezed Avum's hand. "Your faith in me has always lent me strength, Avum. I thank you for it. Yet she is in my keeping for a reason. She will go nowhere."
"You care for her, then?"
"I do not know her." Camille placed a chaste kiss on her cheek. "Go to your work." Once alone, Camille paced the interior of his offices. A daughter of Kazdeja aboard Charity. How could this be? What did this mean? What was his role? Question after question jumbled his mind as he fought to understand this dastardly twist of fate. Why did he not question her upon her awakening? Disgust warred with the knowledge that she belonged to him. Camille understood well enough that the trauma forced upon the progeny of Kazdeja was no fault of their own. Yet the spawn were so completely, so mercilessly used, there was no hope for them. Born with blackened blood and forcibly bred to blackened hearts, the spawn of the wicked earned their titles with feverish delight. No matter where they went, no matter who they met, loss and tragedy followed. The spawn were so subdued of their own conscience, their dedication to Kazdeja became fanatical. It was how they survived under such cruel dominion. That a spawn lay in a ministry bed of his beloved Charity revolted him. She revolted him. Bach, may the Eternal One guard her well. He walked to the porthole and gazed into the vastness of space, projecting his bitterness into the very fabric of the universe. "And thee," he sneered, "for her?" And he had done the unthinkable, taking the spawn in his arms that day in the control room. Camille never allowed himself public displays of affection, yet it was plain Lena needed comfort, and she had wanted it from him. He was glad to provide it, would have been glad to provide her with anything she wished. It was the least he could do for all she suffered at his hand. And the longer he held her, the more she settled, and the tension eased from her. Her heart slowed to a normal rhythm and thumped inside of him. Lena's moment of anxiety passed, and her inner strength returned to her. Her peace of mind and the relaxed vibrational humming of her body lulled him, making his stiff hug become more natural. He had believed she neither knew nor understood the implication of him being able to feel her heartbeat inside of his chest, or that she called out to him in such a manner. Nay, she had not been offering her heart. She was simply so at ease with him, she felt no need to protect it from him. It marked the third time in his existence that another heart beat in time to his. The first was his mother. The second had been Charity. Even Fiadan, his closest friend and confidant, did not gift him so. He fought down his rage. Was it a ploy? Did she hope to allay him? She could not. He would do as he must. Keep her close. Lull her into believing herself safe. Keep vigilant. Above all else, Camille's people would not fall prey to her avarice. He would not allow her evil to taint these walls if he had to send her to the grave himself. She, Lena, daughter of Kazdeja, spawn of the wicked, would never do her evil works here. Camuel walked with his head lowered as he left his office. Footsteps sounded behind him, and a warning tingled up his spine. No one traversed these halls without his permission. Camuel spun, prepared for a fight. Injustice and betrayal made him more paranoid than usual, yet he stayed his hand the moment he recognized the woman. Chiara gazed up at him with wide, infatuated eyes. In her hand was a medical bag, and in the other vials filled with blood. She had just come from visiting a patient that needed her attention. Camuel tried to draw in a calming breath. It was a mistake. Her pheromone-packed scent filled his nostrils, making his body flare with carnal need. Though his mind knew that the lust he felt for her was nothing more than a chemical reaction to her ability to release intense hormones at will, and not the woman herself, he could not stop his body from hardening. By the ever-loving Eternal One, what just was this?
I guess jeans and t-shirts are a no-go around here, huh?
Lena laughed later that evening, eyeing the red and black scarves with a lifted brow. She refused at first to even wear them when Avum and Chiara attempted to twist and wrap the scarves in ways that would reveal her body, as Ka'al women did. Instead, she wrapped the scarves in a way that only left her arms bare. The material twisted and folded along the upper body and wrapped around the shoulders. Golden chain links worked to fasten the garment together with tiny clips. The links hung over her chest decoratively, but worked functionally in securing the garment against exposing her cleavage. They adorned her arms in golden cuffs, supple as leather, spaced a few inches apart. Each of her fingers wore slender rings of the same, while a broader band cinched the smallest part of her waist. 2 scarves, one black, one red, hung as a makeshift loincloth, their extra fabric trailing coyly to her ankles. With the slightest movement, her legs revealed more flashes of gold, gleaming from thigh to ankle. She didn't mind showing a little leg, but the Ka'al did not wear shoes unless working, so none were provided. That would take getting used to. Avum activated a holograph and Lena squeaked when a perfect image of herself stood face to face with her.
Alien mirrors, huh? She chuckled, moving this way and that, fascinated by her doppelganger mimicking each of her movements.
Lena tilted her head, the holograph doing the same. Do all the women dress like this? Avum pursed her lips.
Aye. We Ka'al women are comfortable with our bodies and often bare our breasts for special occasions. I'm sure Kryben's sister will teach you new ways to tie your scarves, as you prefer more modesty.
Still staring at her replica, Lena asked, I've noticed the men only walk around in basic cloth wrapped around their waists. Why bother with the scarves at all if you're just going to show everything? Avum shrugged, not meeting Lena's questioning gaze.
We must cover our asses. No one wishes to sit upon another's ass sweat.
Ew, exclaimed Chiara.
So gross.
Lena chuckled, wrinkling her nose even as she let a hand travel down her arm. So many gold bands.
They are thermal adjusters,
Avum answered, turning her back.
Decorative, aye, but functional. Even as we speak, they are calibrating to your baseline temperature and vital signs. No matter which climate you visit, they will adjust for your comfort, and should your health be compromised, they will send a distress signal to Charity's main computer for assistance.
Camuel entered the small convalescent room much later than expected. He'd been due that morning, but now, it was the time of night where the Ka'al began searching for their beds. Avum remained unbothered in her seat, while Chiara jumped to her feet, prodding Lena to stand with her. It was a silly custom. But this wasn't her society, not yet. She had to play by their rules. Lena rose and turned to face the pearlescent man in the doorway. She was used to his usual soft glow, but something about the way his inner light flickered now enraptured her. Lena had never considered the color pink could intimidate until now, but the way Camuel's light surrounded him and played off the contours of his body gave him a dangerous air that made her stomach dip low in her belly. Platinum hair, with the surprising shock of silver highlights, fell in silky waves around his face, down past his shoulders. Clear blue eyes shone with calculation as they traveled over her so slowly that goosebumps raced over her skin. His long nose flared slightly, and his full lips pressed together. What was he thinking? Until now, Lena always felt his moods. Except... She frowned. He hadn't spoken to her at all today. hadn't projected into her mind or sent any friendly psychic bumps to let her know he was thinking of her. She couldn't read anything from him. His barely perceptible reaction to her could mean anything. Did she look ridiculous? The hard look in his eye was totally unexpected after all the patience and kindness he showed her, and his voice, when he sent it into her mind, was harsh. The hostility of it caused her stomach to roil.
So, you have decided to join the living.
Lena's back stiffened. Oof. Someone's in a mood. I want to see my babies. Camuel hesitated, then extended his hand to her. Even with his surly attitude right now, she trusted him. How could she not, when she'd literally been inside of his mind? She placed her hand in his. Avam's sharp gasp briefly drew Lena's attention, but Camuel spoke, drawing her gaze back to him.
My colors suit you.
The tips of his fingers touched one of the golden chains on her shoulder, the slide of his fingers causing a tingle to spread through her.
What is your full name?
She swallowed.
Elena Inanna Nigba.
Lovely.
He husked.
Deceivingly soft. Feminine, yet there is strength in you. A coldness that touches your eyes betimes. Darkness.
How did he know? He couldn't have seen through her. No one ever did. Lena was a master at disguising her true self. Camuel couldn't see the darkness inside of her. Could he? One finger trailed over the familiar scar on her neck. Maybe he could. Lena lowered her eyes.
Do you accept me, Elena Inanna Nigba?
Alien etiquette? She wasn't sure if he was asking whether she accepted him as her escort or accepted his protection in some old-school fashion, but she didn't doubt her answer in either case. By now, I'm pretty sure I've accepted everything.
Do you accept me, Sharon?
He asked again, tone stern. Lena frowned at his curt tone. Yes, of course I do. Avam's eyes darted between the two, a small wrinkle creasing her brow.
You must use his name and say clearly you accept him.
A ripple of insecurity coursed through her. But what was the point of staying here if she wasn't going to fully embrace the culture that welcomed her? Yes, I accept you, Camuel. Camuel took her other hand in his, bringing them to his chest, the way Mord had just a few days before. The warmth of his fingers caressing the back of her hand sent tingles up her arms. His intense eyes turned a dark blue while meeting her unsure ones.
As I accept you, Lena.
Something in his tone gave her pause, a sharpness that unsettled her. Instinct urged her to retreat.
But a calming pulse from Camuel slid through her veins, rooting her to the spot. The strange warmth threaded into her limbs until her resistance thawed. When she settled, he spoke, Ka'al syllables flowing low and resonant, almost reverent, as he pressed his palms to her chest. The sound vibrated against her bones, alien and solemn, like a vow she didn't understand, yet felt all the same. A flicker of fear coiled through her. Was this ceremony binding her? Claiming her? Or simply testing her obedience? The weight of it pressed against her ears, against her lungs, until she forced herself to breathe. Then, like the fading pull of a tide slipping back into the sea, Camuel withdrew. His touch lingered like a ghost, tingling over her skin as a thick, almost sacred, silence fell. Suddenly aware of just how small she was, completely engulfed within the shadow of his height and the intense scrutiny of his pale blue orbs, the awkward prickle of self-consciousness crept up her neck. She cleared her throat, too loud in the quiet, and grasped for levity, for anything to break the tension pressing between them. Well, since I'm about to join your society, I figure it's time I stop calling you by your given name and start referring to you by your title. No one else calls you Camuel. I suppose I shouldn't either, right, Craven? Avam's expression frosted over. Kiara shifted her weight. Lena turned to the two women, but this seemed to irk Camuel, and he spoke, deliberately drawing her attention back to him.
I.
He confirmed.
From this moment forward, you will regard me and address me as Craven.
From his chest pocket, he removed a heavy golden medallion the size of his palm. Camuel took her hands in his with her palms facing upward, brushing his thumb over the calluses she sported there.
This will hurt.
She studied his eyes. No cruelty, only truth. Later, Lena wouldn't be able to explain to herself why. Maybe it was curiosity at this alien custom, but she held her hand still for him. He laid the flat, chalice-shaped medallion in her palm, adjusting it just so, and pressed her palms together, enclosing the medallion within them. Then he cupped his hands over hers, keeping them steady.
Do not move,
He instructed. There was a small metallic click. The sting struck instantly. A swarm of invisible needles stabbed into her palms, searing them with a crawling fire, as if a nest of fire ants had been unleashed beneath her skin. In quiet tones, Camuel began speaking in Kal. Light emanated from between their clasped hands. Lena jerked when his light spread from their hands, up her arms and through the rest of her body. Fear and pain fought for dominance. The medallion heated, becoming so hot it blistered her hands. A shuddered gasp escaped her, but she fought every instinct to pull away. Before she could be overwhelmed and cry out, Lena forced her shoulders to relax and closed her eyes against what was happening. She took a deep breath and cleared her mind in the way she learned as a child trying to survive. She forced her body to accept the pain, drawing it in, making it part of herself, consuming it, owning it, overcoming it. A mule of pain escaped her right before she reached her quiet place, and peace settled over her. Camuel's voice came from a distance, muffled to her ears, until it faded away. The moment she opened her eyes, the pain came rushing back. Camuel removed the medallion from her throbbing hands and attached it to a golden chain, securing it to the material of her upper scarf. He lifted the medallion he wore around his own neck, a replica of the one he adorned her with, and showed it to her.
Proof of my vow of protection.
Lena looked down at her red, blistered palms that oozed with a mixture of clear liquid and blood. The pain. Oh, God. The pain. She took a steadying breath, schooled her features, then looked up at Camuel. He watched her as he took her hands once again in his, then used his tongue to lave at the blisters, accepting her blood and easing the burn.
My blood to yours, your blood to mine.
The angry marks healed, revealing the patterns the medallion left on her palms.
You were trained well to receive pain.
Camuel said sarcastically, but eyed her with grudging respect. Lena wanted to ask what his problem was, but she felt odd. The atmosphere between them changed, thickened. Camuel and Lena closed their eyes under the weight of the energy that throbbed around them. Each took a step toward the other until their bodies kissed.
Their hands interlaced of their own accord. Camuel fought to keep his hold painless, knowing even through the deepening fog in his mind that he could hurt her. His light consumed them both, drawing them closer together, forcing Kiara and Avram to shield their eyes. Camuel pulled Lena closer to keep her steady despite his own struggle to remain upright. It was Lena's mew of fear that brought him back from the brink. To fight against his own light was no easy feat, yet he would control it for her sake. He commanded his light to calm, to ease more gently into her, until she was so full of his claim she could take no more. Then he pulled it back into himself, accepting the way her essence now filled his light, and allowing the rightness of her to settle into his being, into his heart and mind. He swallowed, finding it difficult to speak as the energy between them settled into something new and exciting and dangerous. With one arm around Lena's waist to both keep her steady and pressed against him, he lifted his other to wipe the mist of sweat on her brow. Lena shivered at his touch and pressed more completely against him. Each wanted to prolong the feel of the other's body against theirs, until the light eventually faded.
Lena felt Camuel's resolution.
Camuel felt Lena's confusion. Each was determined to keep their own counsel as they fought through the mire of their amped-up emotions. Camuel loosened his hold, ensuring Lena had her balance before he released her. "This mark is my mark." Camuel held his hands up to her to show her his branded palms. "I branded you as is custom."
Lena had questions. So many questions. There was no opportunity to ask. A sudden electrical current ran through her body, seizing her in place. She couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't even breathe. Her mind swam with dizziness, and for a moment her balance wavered. Breath rushed into her lungs, causing her to gasp. Camuel placed his hands at her waist, steadying her. Those soft tones he used during the odd ceremony were gone, causing his voice to harden.
Your daughters are in the nursery. We should not keep them waiting.
Lena nodded dazedly, grateful for the way he supported her and held her against him.
Come.
He said, releasing her, watching for signs of weakness. The fog that attacked her mind thickened. Lena's normally alert and observant gaze would have noticed, but with the lethargy thrumming through her, she never registered the wide-eyed facial expression of Avum, or the slight pallor of Kiara's enchanting skin as Camille escorted her away. She followed Camille in a quiet daze for long moments, letting him guide her through the passageways until her surroundings penetrated the fog and her mind cleared. They were in a maze of hallways with doors appearing here and there, with alien glyphs above each doorway. Will you explain what just happened?
Camille stopped walking and turned to tilt her face up to his. He wanted to see her expressions, if there were any avarice within her. In time her facade would fade and she would give herself away. It was bonding. You are now part of my clan, my family. The woman's confusion was written in her expression, and with all that he was, Camille wished to believe her innocent countenance genuine.
Is bonding a person into one of your clans always that intense?
She asked. Camille scratched his beard, trying to see through her. Lady, you... It had been so long since being rendered speechless that Camille was at a loss with himself. Her clear green eyes peered into his with such openness, a wave of doubt washed through him. Could she be all that she appeared? His light threatened to flicker, so he pulled it deep within himself, banking the glow lest he hurt her with his heat. Camille snarled and turned away from her. I will have you tutored in our ways. I grow weary of your bantam-like curiosity.
His words stung. Was she that much of a bother? Bitter, familiar, shame made her want to shrink away. Lena chewed her inner cheek, trying to come up with some response to ease his temper, but she was jerked forward when he began walking again.
Did you have a profession on Earth?
He asked, his arctic blue orbs pure ice as he glanced at her. I was a soldier. My MOS job was to fly helicopters.
Of course, he remembered with animosity. The daughter of Kazdeja would be a warrior, a death dealer. Before his resentment got the better of him, Camille resigned himself to remain impartial and so focused on her words. He understood her occupation to be that of a pilot, yet held no knowledge of what this helicopter thing was.
Though he kept his stoic facade, Lena could feel his tension. Deciding to change the topic, she asked, Is your society a feudal one? Are you a republic? Do women have rights?
We are monarchy, and our women wield much power aboard Charity.
That's not saying much. England is a monarchy, but they still have a prime minister.
He vaguely remembered a land named England, yet did not understand what a prime healer had to do with governance. Our monarchy is absolute. The emperor rules.
There's a real king on this ship? She looked up at him with interest. You left that juicy little tidbit out during my last history lesson.
He grunted. We call this vessel Charity. Address her thusly, if you please.
Lena was half tempted to tell him what he could do with his crappy attitude, but held her tongue. His sudden change in temperament made her nervous. This was nothing like the other times she'd annoyed him. There was something sinister floating around him, and that he deliberately banked his glow didn't sit well with her. Are you the captain of Charity, then? I thought you were captain of the Forager. I guess I still don't have a firm grasp of what you do here.
Charity has 6 captains,
he said in a non-committal tone. Tamping down her annoyance, Lena reminded herself of all the patience and kindness he showed her as she was healing. The guy was having a bad day. Everyone had bad days. He deserved for her to be just as patient and kind as he had been. I'm sorry you're in a bad mood. I'll stop talking now. I don't want to be a bother.
Camille snorted. I nearly kill you. I destroy your property. I abduct you and your bantlings and force you to leave behind everything you have ever known. And your concern is to not be a bother. He admired her ability to portray such guilelessness, if only she were as she appeared to be.
Leaving Earth isn't that difficult. I didn't have much there that's worth missing except my career.
Her voice softened, and he was sure genuine sadness laced her words.
I mean, I have a cousin. She seems nice, but we only met a couple of weeks ago. The twins' father died. I guess it would be a month ago by now. He was the only family I could have claimed. If he were alive, I would go back so the girls could be with their dad. As for me, I have no one. Not really. And who knows, Maybe ending up on charity is what I need. I can finally, Lena cut herself off. She wanted him to see her as she was now, not what she'd been then.
Camuel allowed the silence that followed. He wanted to ask what she could finally do, but decided it was unnecessary. Whatever her claims now, he would learn the truth in its own time.
Camuel waved his hand in front of the small screen, which sat outside every entry. The large door slid silently into the wall, opening into one big play area. Toys were strewn about, murals of animals, trees, and beings she had never seen before decorated the large room. Planets and moons floated holographically. A hologram played off in the corner, some sort of children's show, and Lena laughed to herself. High-definition TV certainly took on a new meaning. That was where she found her girls, the only two children to occupy the room at this time of night. Her chest squeezed. "Girls," she called, her voice thick with emotion. Sasha glanced back distractedly, turned back to her show, then screeched with excitement when realization struck.
"Sissy, look! It's Mama!"
Layla turned around wide-eyed, and both girls careened into Lena.
"I missed you so much,"
Sasha said.
"Can I have some juice?"
Layla asked. Lena hugged her girls close, breathing in their light baby scent, and laughed at the request. Layla was nothing if not preoccupied with her tummy. Moments later, when the girls settled, Lena hesitated as she looked up at Camuel, and the truth settled inside of her. She was completely at the mercy of strangers.